Good luck, Panda.
Okay, good luck, Panda. You may start the recording, SMB. Your recording is on. Okay, I'm gonna leave the speaker. SMB
Yay.
is also gonna leave the speaker. How do I leave? Leave the.
Thank you. I mean, you can stay as well. I mean, I think it'd be fine if like if some people just up there, 'cause then it doesn't look so overbearing. I don't know. Up to you guys though. Wait. Hello. Hello everyone. Welcome to the VTAC Heading Fundies. Yay! I'm not sure how many of these there will be, but uh, for now there'll be this one today. I think for this one, I was thinking it'll go for about an hour, maybe a little longer. But let me check the poll, just to check how many people. All right, I've animated for a little bit, and that's good. And you haven't done the poll and announcement, then make sure to do that so then I can kind of see, and I can, because there's like a bunch of people who absolutely don't know how it works. I'll have to do. I can change a little bit, but this is good. All right. Um. No, okay. Cool. So, welcome. Um, as the flying panda, I guess. I've animated a little bit, and so let me just grab up some things. Hopefully, you guys will learn some stuff about animation. So this one is, I'm gonna go through, um, I think quick concepts, three concepts. Pretty simple stuff, but very very usable in pretty much everything. And it's gonna be speed easing arcs. If you heard of that before, then it's great. If you haven't heard of that, don't worry. We're gonna go through all of it. Um, and I'm also gonna try to go through like the really, uh, um, not intricate, but more in-depth ways to apply it. So, uh, for those of you who've animated a little bit, hopefully I can go through some more advanced uses of the those concepts. And those of you who have never done it, hopefully we can go through in a way that's a little bit more understandable. But if you guys also don't understand anything I'm saying, you can just send a question in the chat, or maybe we'll do a bit at the end. We'll put the hand up. Right. Okay, so I assume most people here have CSP. I don't think. Does everyone here know how to make an animation folder? If not, but if not, I'll go through it real quick. So if you have, and I checked, it works, but I'll go through it anyways. All right, so I'll go start with a new folder. And I don't remember what the usual resolution is. I just do that. So for resolution, usually want 1920 1080. Make sure the frame rate is 24 FPS. And I also like to have a little border out from the edges. So that means I have some leeway at the sides. It's good for if later on you want to add camera stuff or you want to move things around, you have a good amount of space. So that's what I do. And then also later on we'll do export, but just to double check, when you export as a movie, right, movie export settings, this should also be in 24. Because I've seen a few people who's animated on CSP, and then this isn't on 24 FPS, and so they're exporting in like 8 FPS, because somehow that's what CSP defaults to. And it's like, okay, we gotta change that. So just double check that later on when you're exporting. It's in 24 FPS and 1920 1080. But you can change the canvas size to anything you want. Okay, so we'll just jump straight into it. So the first thing is we're gonna be learning about speed. It's a pretty simple concept, but it's very, very important. Also, yeah, here's the onion skin button. Actually, let's start here. And just make sure if there's no one here that doesn't know at CSP, then hopefully you can follow or ask question. So here's the onion skin button. And to add frames, you can just click here. Just like, right. So the first thing is about speed. And so what I want to get into is simply how to make things move fast and how to make things look like it's moving slow. So also how to make things look like it's moving. So in a film, you have a strip and it has a bunch of frames, and when you quickly flip through those frames, it looks like it's moving, right? So um, when we animate on 2D, we're just replicating a film strip. So when we do make a frame, and we're going to start with just a line, and then I'm going to make a new frame, and we're going to make it so the line moves one direction just a tiny bit, right? We're going to make it move a little bit, and then make a new frame. This is new animation cell. And move just a little bit more. Make a new frame and move it right just a little bit more. With CSP, if you're clicking, if your red bar, and what that is somewhere else, and you click, then it'll make the frame there. So you want to click on the next frame and then make a new cell, new frame. And then, so we're just going to do this for a few frames just to get the feeling of making a new frame, making a new drawing, making a new frame, making a new drawing. The line doesn't need to be super consistent, doesn't need to be super perfect. Just do this for a good amount of frames. And then you have something that's hopefully moving. If anyone, again, is like, something's up with their one, do ask it, in the chat. So first we're going to do that, and that's how you animate something slower, or just animate moving. But this time, let's do another one on the bottom, and try to make it so that it moves much more the last frame. Actually, well, we can do it on the same layer. Come down, go to the next frame. This time it moves a bit farther, right? A bit farther. And move this line forward farther like this. Just continue it. Right. And then when we play, we could animate already something slow and something fast, or slower and faster. So this is a very, very important concept. It's just speed and knowing how to animate something slow and something fast. And so with this, you can already animate a bunch of stuff, right? If things move in a constant speed, I don't know, a car or an airplane, right? The same thing. You can just do the same thing, but move it really fast, right? So what we want to know in animation is the real extremes of this. You want to know how to animate something really slow and know how to animate something super, super fast. So I'd recommend doing something like this if you've never done it before. and just try to experiment around with it. It's something I like to do, try to make it move in different directions as well. And this is a good exercise, just to get your hand all good and warmed up. All right, so that's slow and fast, but we need to also remember that a car doesn't go from 0 to 100 in 0.5 seconds. It has to take time. So now what we need to know is how to make something go from slow to fast. So how might we do that? And that would be through. So here we have the spacings are different, right? It moves only a small space, whilst the fast it moves a larger space each frame. Slow moves a shorter frame, space each frame. So to make something, let me just get rid of this for now. So I can make a new layer. Okay. Make a new layer, make your cell. And so this time we're going to learn about going from slow to fast. So this means it should go from small spacing, very short spacing each frame, to gradually getting larger and larger and larger. And so this is the playback, so I can bring this backwards. So it plays longer. And so what we're going to do, we're going to start with a really slow and small distance. Make it move this way, same way. Make a new frame, but this time make each frame should be a little bit bigger than the last. The next frame, a little bit bigger than the last. Like that. A bit bigger than the last. Right, next frame. That should be bigger. And you can go back and forth with the comma and full stop, was it? I think it's the same. Like in YouTube. And then the next frame should be bigger than that. And so when we continue doing this, this is shorter than the last, but I should make it bigger than that. So now we animate something that's accelerating. It goes from slow to fast. And this is the concept is called easing. Swoosh indeed. So easing is pretty much acceleration and deceleration. So we can do the same going backwards as well. Or maybe this starts fast and to go gradually slower. And that means less distance, less distance, less distance. Right, so these are very important. So with this, you can already animate, I don't know, I feel like 80% of stuff. So now I'd recommend trying to do a line and make it just move around the frame. And make sure to remember the easing and the speed that it should be moving at, right? So just making things move pretty much in a straight ahead motion. And doesn't need to be lines, that can be dots as well. And this just gets you, again, used to animating. And this is something I think Alex Griggs is called the magic dots, where you can also do it with the dot. And you just make it move, make it speed up, make it slow down, right? and you make it really slow, and then you make it speed up, right? All right, and so with these two things, we can already do my favorite exercise, which you may have heard about, is the bouncing ball. I'm going to make a new frame again, a new layer. So this BB, new cell, and so I'm going to show you how to do the bouncing ball. So the bouncing ball, I'm going to make one more new layer, which I'm going to get rid of. Yeah, I'll get rid of these ones. It's okay. I'm going to make a floor layer. And you can make a new layer if you want. So I can indicate the floor. And I'm going to draw a circle. Anyways, the reason this is such a good exercise is because we're practicing very much easing and speed, right? The concept of spacing. So what we want to do, imagine that there's a hand holding this ball, and then very next frame, the hand disappears, right? The ball wouldn't just instantly fall down to the ground. It needs to gradually start getting pulled down by gravity, right? Same like the race car, same like anything. Even though it does get up very quick, it still has to build up the energy, right? So for this, we're moving down, and again, we gotta start slow to the top. Start slow because the hand just let go. So it's very nice frame. We're gonna make it move just a little bit down, right? And it doesn't need to be a perfect ball. I don't care really. It's a nice frame, like before. It should be gradually increasing in speed, right? So I'm gonna do this. And so if you see here, it's gradually increasing in speed, right? So next frame, new ball, make it move a bit more, right? Have it move down a bit more. So I'm kind of going sideways, that's okay. And fall down. And I don't need to force it down, right? I don't need to force anything to make it, or it should be fast. It'll come in time because speed, because of gravity. And make a new frame and gradually make it move faster and faster. Um, and actually, I want to bring it down a bit more. So what I want to do, right, let's see how that works. And maybe it could be better. Crucial Paint has a weird thing of not really playing every frame, but if you zoom out, then it plays a few more frames than before. All right. So now we've gone down. When we come up, what I like to do is I make this first frame. If you right click and bring it here, right? You can choose which frame you want on here, on the timeline. I hope that makes sense. come down, and then so then we can see where the start of the loop is. All right. So we're gonna make it loop, so it needs to come up now. And so this ball came down, right? It's the ground, and it keeps the momentum. So we need to come up, and again, keeping the momentum, it should start fast, and then slow down as it comes up top, right? Right. So we'll do that. I'm gonna have it come up. Again, this is fast, right? So falls, boing, and comes up. So this time it should be moving less distance than the last. Right, less distance. Doesn't need to be perfect, but it just needs to be consistent, I think. I get to some common mistakes as well later on. Hopefully that'll help out. Right. Slow it down. Slow it down. And just trust in the process that'll slow it down enough. Down. And if it doesn't, that's okay. We can just move around the frames later. Right. So I'm gonna bring back this playback. Back. There we go. We have a little ball bounce. See how this frame just gets disappeared. Fancy guy indeed. Okay. Alright, I feel like it'd be better if I just export it as it. Ball. Okay. Right, okay, so this is chip settings. I'm gonna make it 2020 1080. For FPS. Double check that. Okay. And then I'm opening it up in my other screen. Right. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. Pretty good bounce. But let's say you're doing it. All right, and so now we'll get into some common mistakes. Or if you have any questions about that real quick, then feel free to ask as well. Actually, a few common mistakes is when they're animating, they're not making every frame bigger than the last. And I'm repeating it because what happens, they might get to this point and then they might start animating it. You know, whereas like this, right? Where now here the amount of space it moves each frame is very even. Again, because of gravity, it should continue to make the ball move faster. Of course, until it gets to terminal velocity, in which then maybe you can make this a bit more. But this isn't far enough for that. So we've got to make it so that it moves more and more each frame. So here, it moves, let's say, on the middle to here. Doesn't really matter where you're measuring, right? Just make sure that it's moving more and more. And then histogram. The other thing as well can happen if, say, your ball is like this. Go down, and then the next frame, some people might draw it like this, right? So it goes boom, boom, boom. And because we know what the spacings mean, right? If it goes from here to here to here, it'll look like it's moving really slow. Suddenly it has to move fast. Where in reality, from already here, because of the ball already having fallen keeps the momentum. It should be moving fast up as well. And then for some more specific bounce ball stuff, you can make the top of the loop a bit more even. And I have a video on this, so you can. I reckon you could go through that in case you miss anything. And again, if you miss anything on this, then you can always ask me or rewatch the video that is the recording. Right. Okay, so this is the ball bounce. And so what we're gonna do now, again with this you can do all sorts of stuff. And so again, these aren't like one-off things. These are concepts that can be used in everything. So if I can apply this to, I don't know, I've done it before, but it's a big rock. And so big rock falls down, and I can start it with something for this. Move it very slow. Make it move very slowly faster, right? Move faster. I should move a bit more faster. And so this can be applied to many things. And also, something people might do, let's say they've done many frames here, and they're like, oh, it should hit the ground by now. So then what people might tend to do is that they just make it so that it hits the ground. Or they might be animating the ball slowly, and then they're like, oh, I should be moving it faster. And then they start moving it faster like this, right? When in actuality, you should just let the acceleration happen and then let it gradually speed up, speed up, speed up, speed up. And again, I don't need to make this perfect. So I am getting real pedantic about this. You know what? Have that, and then we can add a new layer, and then we can do our little dots again. And so it comes up fast and comes up and gets slow. And actually, this brings us to our next concept, which is arcs. So let's see here. So now we know how far to make things move. Now we need to know where to make things move, right? And so an easy answer to this is just to make it move in an arc. And so when I'm animating a bouncing ball going across, I don't tend to do that, but it's a good exercise, actually. Yeah, I should recommend more people do it. Actually, we'll do it with this. And let's say it slams to the ground and punches up a big this dot. And this dot needs to come up this way. It's getting confusing. Making you layer. Take this out. Okay. So dot moves this way. And because the momentum gets shot out. So it needs to move fast, and then it also needs to come down, right? Like this. We're just gonna start with the dot. I'm gonna make a bunch of frames already to prepare myself. So it comes up this way. And so what we want to do, right? It should be fast. So each frame should be slower than the last. It came from here, goes down. And so I'm not making it move in a straight line like this. I'm going to make it actually move off angle. Next frame, right? Again, I'm not looking at the straight line. I'm not animating here. I'm animating it so it comes down a bit. Next frame. Actually, here you can see I made a bit of a mistake. I should make it a little slower, but that's okay actually. With arc. I'm gonna make it slow it down a bit. I think actually that's right. Whoops, I made it in the wrong frame. I need to move down this time. And so with this, I can already figure out where to put the dot just from the context of these other things, as well as the arc, right? Here I can move down, and I can also think about the easing as well. But I'll get to that in a second, where I'm not quite thinking about it as much here. But let's see how that looks. So here it looks like it's making a bit of a, maybe like this, which isn't ideal. Well, that's okay. What I think I'll do now, let's do another dot. Do it this way this time. I'm gonna make it come up. So this time I'm gonna be thinking more about easing. Let's come up here. This way, right? And then it's to come up. And I think what this will do, if you played one of those games with a trajectory, and you know how it does this, right? If you go forward and it goes longer. It's kind of what we want to think about. And I think a lot of people, yeah, like me, I might do something like this, and then they forget that the whole thing should kind of follow this trajectory instead of suddenly falling down. And what maybe many people do, because they don't know arcs, they make it move in a straight line, and it falls down like this. And then it becomes a triangle. So, all right, let's get to this one. Comes up. Up a little bit. It should get slower each frame. Slower. And remember, easing, it should be smaller distance each frame. So it starts falling now. Comes up. And now it starts speeding up. So each frame should be. Oh. Oops. Comes up. Comes down. Yeah. And I don't think we need to finish it. Actually, we should. Kind of skipped looking at it. So already with this, we can do all sorts of stuff. Again, just like a little effect where it slows down, right? Like this, fast. Oh, smaller, smaller, smaller. Fast, smaller, smaller, smaller. And with that, we have like a nice little effect that you can use in pretty much everything. Right. So that's, so now we've gone through a bit of speed, easing, and a little bit of arcs. And now, I think you're doing an arm wave or something, but it seems a little more complicated than expected. I didn't think I'd get this far, really, but no. So I think, for now, let me just check that everyone is on the right track. No one's too lost or doesn't kind of understand. I should mention that you should try to animate along as well, but that's okay. Maybe later on you can animate these as well. All right. Everything cool, cool. That's good. All right. Then all these. I reckon. Right. We can apply it to something that is a bit more fun, just to really drill it in. You guys have any ideas of if you guys want to give a topic or something? Otherwise, I'll just do an arm wave. So I'm gonna make a new one. Say, what's the date? Five. Arm wave is cool. Or if someone else has anything else as well, we can arm wave. Or like a table slam or a hammerfall. Magic dot is fun too. Yep. All right. Then we'll do arm wave, and we're gonna keep it very, very simple. What other animation is arcs? Pretty much everything. We can apply it to literally anything if we want to get more complicated. All right, let's start with the arm wave. And what we can do, we're gonna make it really, really rough. So we're not gonna. If you're a drawer, you've drawn before. We're gonna forget all that stuff. We're not gonna draw. We're gonna start with like a very stick man looking friend. All right. I should make it. Okay, so we have the body. So we're gonna make a friend on one layer. Make a new layer. Make a new cell, and we're gonna call this one the arm layer. And so here we can start with any part of the wave, but hopefully one of the ends of it, right? So let's say you can go from here, and then it goes down to here, right? So so we can start from here actually. Start from here. Either way, we're gonna have to start from a slow motion. So remember that. So here it should be starting slow. That means it should move. It shouldn't just instantly get to the next frame. We're gonna gradually make it move up. Gradually make it move up. And I'm gonna sneak in a bit more fundies if you guys don't mind. We're gonna make the hand also lead back a bit. I'm gonna do that. So the arm comes up. Arm comes up. Make this dark again. Comes up and hand gets, the tip of the hand gets pulled back. You know, if you wave your hand and you relax and it comes back. Next frame, it's got to move. So we see this here. I made a mistake. I'm gonna make it longer. So what I didn't think here, if you see here, this wrist should also move in an arc like this, because it's pivoting around. If I made it move in a straight line, and of course, it'll change sizes, right? So we need to make it move in an arc so that it keeps the right size. And so here, we're going through a few things here. Starts slow, speeds up, and the next frame it should be moving farther again. So let's make it move not this fast. So making sure the wrist is at a healthy distance. I think maybe a little longer, huh? New frame. Drop here. And then it should come up, and then here it should start slowing down. But what we're gonna do, actually we'll start with just a stick first. Slow it down, and then it should slow down again. So from here, it starts slowing down, right? Smaller distance, and then because of momentum, the tip of the hand might still keep going. So now we need to make it move backwards. Just like the bouncing ball comes up and then needs to come back down. We're gonna make it move. Slow down to a almost stop. And then come back around. Right. Come up, slow it down, and then tip of the hand is gonna pull back. So we're gonna do the same thing on the way back, right? So slowly increase the speed. Increase the speed, right? From here, here. Faster. Faster. And again, I'm gonna grab this first frame, put it anywhere afterwards. And then we're gonna slow it down. Whoops. Make a new frame, slow it down. Slow it down. Like the bouncing ball, right? And then we grab. My playback is very far away. I'm gonna grab this. By the way, if you want to move the timeline, so hold space and then move it around. So what we have here is a little harm wave. Little friend saying hello. Hello, this is a friend. And so with this already, you can do a bunch of stuff. If you want, you can go over it, you know, clean up, add a little bit more for a few things. And I think we could also go through a final little thing, final little arm wave where we had a little bit more follow through. And this is probably more for guys who have already animated a bit more, but we'll do the same thing, but this time we're going to think about it as two. I'm going to add in all my stuff. And so this time I'm going to think of it as two sections. And again, we're going to speed it up. This time the hands getting pulled backwards is getting dragging behind. Move out fast. slow it down, and then as this slows down, the hand is still, this part is still getting all the momentum. So all the force is just coming from this hand, right? So when this stops, this still moves. Like here, or a wobbly hammer. I don't know. I'm trying to think of some things, but I can't get it in my head. So what'll happen here, we're really just animating this, so that when it comes down, it comes back around, slows down, and it speeds up. This is getting pulled behind. Right, and I'm doing this in sections as well. It's something totally you can do, right? You don't need to do everything on every frame. You can go back and animate in sections. You can animate it as keyframes. There's no right or wrong. Whatever is easier. Okay. And I'm adding that frame back again. And goes. Boom. So now we have a bit of a wobbly hand. If you guys don't understand fully how to do the wobbly hand, it's more about follow through. I don't think I'll go through it too much for this, unless you guys have time for it. But that's, I think, about it. After this, I'll have a few resources that I can send over. I have a few videos as well that I've done, a few videos that I really enjoy as well, for animation fundies. Again, if you miss anything, then you can feel free to ask questions or rewatch the video. Right, so I'll do a question, I guess, unless everything makes sense for now. But yeah, if anyone has any questions at all of how to animate something, it can be outside of this as well. How to make other things, or anything. I think for now, this should be pretty much everything I'll go through for the demo. Yeah, he's a very eccentric arm wave. Also, I'm pretty sure. Talk about later. If anyone else also wants to say something, maybe NVC or NVC wants to say something, or whoever, via voice, then feel free to. Right. Now I'm just gonna try to animate something more complex. I've always gotten tripped up by including arcs and easing. How do you wrap your head around multiple parts of a person or object interacting with each other? Good question. Good question. There's a couple ways to do it. But you can break it down like I did, right? So I might do the upper arm first because that's where the leading part is. So then you can focus more on the arcs. I would recommend also doing it very, very rough animation, like what I did, right? which is the smiley guy. This is how I animate a lot of my stuff. I animate very, very rough. And for a lot of illustrators, they have a hard time with this. And so when I animate something really rough, what I'm doing is I'm purely focusing on spacing and arcs. Right, easing arcs, right? So I might do something like this, and I'm thinking about each point of the hand, right? And then I'm purely thinking about this should start slow. And so when I animate something like this, I can very quickly change things so that it's moving in a smoother arc, right? So that's first suggestion, to start really, really rough. I think second thing, and also probably do it, you can do it pose to pose, actually. Or you also get used to it. So I might animate something first. I might just animate first, right? So I'll do my thing. And this guy, you know. And then afterwards, I might go in and I'll fix up the arcs, right? Amazing. So then afterwards, I might look at this, look at the hips, and I see it bounce up and down, right? So maybe this time, I just move it like this, right? And this is why you want to do it really rough, because then you can play around much more with the easing. And in the start, you don't need to get like everything super consistent. You might animate. I think I've seen a lot of people animate just animate normally, and just by keeping it consistent, they're gonna get pretty good arcs and pretty close easing. But all they need to do is just to, after they do the rough, come back, double check. Okay, is this head moving? And then ease, right? So make sure that this is moving slow and then fast. The other way is with pose to pose. I don't know how to teach that much regarding pose to pose, but you do the one pose first. Maybe this is a good idea. So I'm making you there. And I might go a bunch of layers down. And go like this. And then from here, I can already figure out a good idea of where the arcs and easing might be. The has to go from here to here. Then I might start slow, might speed up, and then slow down the shoulder here. So the shoulder might speed up, slow down, right? And then I can animate like this. Right. Oops. Oops. I'll do that. And then it moves up to the shoulder, slows down, down. And here I'm just doing the torso first. And you can take it section by section, right? The torso first to the hips first, the legs. Or not the legs. And then what I do, I neglect the bottom, but that's okay, because then I can always come back, neaten up the bottom as well, right? So don't need to do everything at the same time, unless you're a stop motion animator, in which then you have a hard life. But we have to move everything with it. But for us, we can go back and forth. We can always undo. We can like and transform. But even just to have a little bit of easing, right? And just to keep it in mind a little bit more, where you start an animation with something that's if it needs to move, you start with something that's very, very slow, right? There's a bit of a habit. So if it hasn't moved, well, then the next frame should probably not move too much, right? Unless for reasons. But that's how do something. That's how I keep doing things a bit more complex by just simplifying my draws and focusing on just arcs and easing. And that's a bit long, but any other questions? If no questions understood, that's good. Which question? Hmm. Um, right, and of course, even afterwards, feel free to just pop into my DM. Like it's a pretty. I'm totally fine with it. Ask me questions afterwards as well. That's totally fine. All right. Then I guess for this, we're pretty much finished. If you want some homework, then something that I always do. I always do the bouncing ball. I still recommend it, and I still do it to this day. It's a good exercise. Before I animate something, I do bouncing ball. It's pretty much. If I haven't animated in a while, I do bouncing ball. This is good. It's just really good for getting me, used to animating slow to fast. Um, and also the magic dots, where you might just start with animating dots moving around first, right? So that's totally fine too. So I recommend that. And then for the actual homework, I'd recommend, I think, animate something that has a little bit of easing and a little bit of arcs. So it could be the arm wave. The arm wave is fine to do. It could be a hammer falling down, right? It could be someone jumping in the air, right? So that one's just like a bouncing ball, right? Someone jumps up, someone comes down, or something completely different. And it could be anything really. I think pretty much everything uses easing and arcs. Using easing or arcs. So get used to using easing, get used to thinking about easing and arcs. Get used to thinking about slow and fast. And also regarding animating slow and fast, you can animate something really slow, right? And really fast. But in between all of that, there's also a infinite range of speed, right? You can have something move from speed up very slowly, right? Slowly. Or you can have something speed up very quickly. And so this is something I also recommend. Maybe you could do a ball. Maybe it's like a beach ball, and so it takes a lot of time. It's still speeding up each frame, but it's taking a lot longer for each frame for it to hit the ground, as opposed to maybe a bowling ball, which isn't affected by a resistance, in which it just falls straight down, right? It still has easing at the top, but doesn't care and hits the ground, right? whereas the beach ball with air resistance is gonna take a little longer to fall down. So understanding that there's more than just slow and fast. There's a lot of range inside, right? You want to get used with that as well. So um, animating something with different easings, right? Different easing, and animating anything with arcs and easing. I think that's pretty much it for me then. So if you guys again have any questions, yeah, just DM me, ping me, or whatever. I'm totally fine with giving critique. Helps me out as well, so that I know what people are looking for when they're animating. And yeah, I think that concludes for this class of the VTACs and the animation cinema. I don't know what it's called. So, do we have an official name? I think we do.
Woohoo! Let's go.
Hey.
I'm by. Good job, Ben.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming. Always good fun to do these. Even though it's my first time, but I always enjoy doing it. It helps me out.
Yep.
How do you think I did, NVC?
I think you did great. You did good. I'm glad to see the arm wave, the Panda Classic. Help out. The Panda invented.
Uh-huh.
It's great.
Homework will check. Yep.
I'm looking forward to seeing your critiques of people here if they do
Yes.
the homework.
Oh.
Yeah, thanks for coming, everybody. There will be a
Yeah.
recording later if you miss anything, or if you want to share it around, feel free. It will be uploaded in the channel.
I'm pretty sure I docked myself a couple times, but that's okay.
I did see that. I was giggling when that happened.
Yeah. You see
We'll
me
make
try to move it. Like, oh.
We'll make SMB cut it out. It's fine.
Yeah, that's. I didn't want to mention it. It'll, and it's. Oh, but that's alright.
Mm.